Well, I'm walking, yes indeed I'm talking about you and me, and I'm a-walking till you come back to me, alright, yeah.
You're listening to Jackie's Giant Music Show. I'm Jackie, and tonight I'm in the studio with musician, songwriter, and New York Blues Hall of Fame inductee Marc Black, followed by Conn artist event co-founder TJ Leonard.
What are you gonna do when the well run dry? Well, run right by and high. I'm gonna beat her right by your side, baby. You pretty baby, honey. Ooh, listen to that. Well, I'm a-walking. Yes, indeed, I'm talking about you and me, and I'm a-walking till you come back to me.
Hey, Marc. Thanks for coming in tonight. Mm-hmm. It's so nice to finally meet you. I've been hearing so much about you.
Yeah, I don't think it's true. I'm telling you, it's not true
it's
what
all
they
good.
said about me. Oh, okay, it's true.
If it's all good, it's true.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at your website, and I see you're coming over to play at the Schoolhouse Theater coming up this weekend, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, my wife and I have been doing this show all around the country. It's called Marc Black's History of the 1950s and 60s Through Popular Song. And the reason it's called Marc Black's History is, well, obviously I'm putting it together, and it's not supposed to be scientific. It's a personal journey through those decades and how the history was reflected in song. So, like, for instance, we talk about things like the Supreme Court ruling on separate but equal. Mm-hmm. And how that really created rock and roll.
How would you say
that brought the races together, you know? And up until that time, like in the 30s and the 40s, African Americans had, they were really their own record industry. It's called race records. Mm-hmm. So when it started to come together, that was such a volatile time. So that's one of the things we talk about. But we talk about space and how that was reflected. We talk about drugs.
Well, they certainly had an impact.
We talk about the Vietnam War. Mm-hmm. You know, and how that was reflected in song. You know, and we do talk about the African American experience and how different it was. How, like, early on, they were planting the seeds of such great stuff with songs like this one by Muddy Waters. Will make the men go crazy when a woman while her dress so tight. Will make the men go crazy when a woman while her dress so tight. Must be the same old thing, make a tomcat hard on that. Oh, the same thing. Same thing. Who is to blame? Whole world is fighting about it. Yeah. Like that.
Ooh. So I was trying to think of the name of that song as you were singing it. What makes the men go crazy?
No, it's the same thing.
The same thing.
Muddy Waters did it. You know, it actually was later than the 50s, but it kind of gives you that feeling how different it was. Because while that was going on, American teeny boppers were listening, and my parents actually were listening to songs like "Hot Diggity, Dog Diggity, Bum, What You Do to Me." You know that song?
No, that song. What era is that from?
That's the 50s. That's Tony. No, I'm going to say Tony Bennett. It's not Tony Bennett.
Perry Como, right?
Perry Como. I mean, of course, Perry Como was famous because his whole thing was he was relaxed. You know, so he was ahead of his time in that sense. He came out there in sweaters. And then, believe it or not, that was like a big deal. He's wearing a sweater on stage.
And not a suit, right?
Right.
Everybody was always dressed up.
I mean, he did wear suits sometimes, but he was famous for wearing sweaters.
So what are you going to wear on Saturday night when you go on the stage at the Schoolhouse Theater? Will you be wearing a sweater, a suit, or a sweatshirt?
I don't know. I kind of dress down quite a bit. I dress in black because I have to, be all these different characters and kind of go through like a lot of different stuff. So, although we do this song, born on a mountaintop in Tennessee, greenest state in the land of the free. You know that one? Davy Crockett? No?
Yes, I
Yes,
do, because I
right?
watched the old-time TV
Now,
shows.
for that one, I would like to get a coonskin cap, but I don't have it. Do you have one at home? Maybe
I
you could
don't
loan
have
me?
a real one. I have one of those, like, what do they call those hats that have the flaps over the ears? I just call it my big fuzzy hat, but it's
I don't know. No, I
a
want
trapper hat, I
No,
think
I
they
need a
call it.
coonskin cap because that's what he wore.
What's a coonskin? It's a raccoon, right?
Yeah.
I'll go find you one of them and run it down.
Okay. Thanks.
So Saturday, November 3rd, 8 p.m., you're going on stage at the Schoolhouse Theater, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the show. Does it start with you singing and your projection is playing, or do you tell a story? Or is it a little bit
It's
of all
all.
that?
The thing is, it is a story. The whole thing is a story. It's hard to explain this show because it's kind of like a one-man theatrical performance, and it's all tied together with the pictures, and there's a lot of laughter. People when they leave the show, the theater, they're like kind of blissed out.
Because they're reliving some of their memories of the past?
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of that, the so-called trip down memory lane kind of thing, but it's also people sing. It's not just me singing at them. It's like people sing along because everybody knows these songs, and you don't have to encourage them.
No. They just kind of get all... Well, music always brings out those memories in yourself, and you remembered being a kid or dancing at the school dance.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, the whole thing.
Really?
The way people and we do stuff like when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie. That's
I know that one.
Yeah, everybody
amore.
knows. That's what's so great. Well, it's because we're dealing with the culture of that time, and we're dealing with some culture that we all have in common. Like this music, when you hear the songs, you go, "Oh yeah, I know that one." Even if just your parents played it, like you said before.
Yeah, and it's a happy memory of my mom singing
Yeah.
a song to me and dancing around the kitchen or what have you. It always brings back, some joy. Talking about generations, and it makes me wonder about social media and promoting, and how do you get the word out for your shows? Because it's not easy to...
No, it isn't. Well, I have different experiences. The center of my world, music world, is Woodstock, New York. Mm-hmm. So if I play there, and there's usually like an article in the paper or whatever, and yes, we use Facebook, whatever, but there'll be like a couple hundred people. But here, it's more difficult. Actually, people don't go out as much in Westchester. But we've sold out the last couple times at the theater, the Schoolhouse Theater. It's a nice little place. You know that place?
I have been to the Schoolhouse Theater. I have been in that theater.
Yes.
It is a beautiful place. Not the easiest place to find, but it's Owens Road, is it right? And I think it's a great place to see a concert. There's not a bad seat in the house.
Yeah. Right, it only seats about 100.
Right. I imagine then everybody's
straight
kind
up
of...
there in Croton Falls.
Right, in Croton Falls. And it's good to be so intimate in the theater because you're there and you're not that far from any one person in the audience. So I touched on it with you a little earlier. So you're a member of the New York State Blues Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. There's a funny story. I was playing up in Maine, and this woman introduced me, and she said, "Mark was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame, but you're going to hear him so you can decide for yourself if he's really worthy of that accolade."
Ah, what a Weisenheimer.
I love that. That was in Maine,
So tell me, I was looking at your description, and it says here that you are a fingerstyle blues guitar player, and I've not been able to figure out what that
using
is.
my fingers. I
Yeah,
don't
you don't
pick.
use a pick.
You like it? Trouble in mind, I'm blue, but I won't be blue always. You know the sun gonna shine. My back dog won't this. Get the idea?
Yes. So, are you into the blues, all different styles of blues, or more of this here finger?
You know, stuff like this is what I really like, and you know, like a song I was singing earlier. You know, oh well, love, callous love. Love, callous love. Oh, well, love, yeah, callous love. Well, look out, yeah, what you have done. Just like that. A little rock and roll, maybe. Something pretty for the Lord.
Is nice. That's Callous Love?
Careless love. Not callous, not
Oh,
callous.
I was thinking callous is like on your
well,
finger.
yeah, actually, but that's a good way to hear
Callous.
it. You know, callous love. That's good.
Because you've been through the mill and your heart's been stomped on and now it's all calloused up. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But it's careless.
But that's
So tell
careless love leads to callous
me,
love.
yes, I think it could. Maybe that's a new song you got to work on.
Okay, how about oh, macchiato mochaccino, half calf cappuccino. Ooh, I love my coffee. Ooh, I love my coffee. Americano mocha grande tall calf. Ooh, I love my coffee. Love it a latte, love it a lot. Well, ooh, I love my coffee, I do. Love it a latte, love it a lot. Well, yeah, I love my coffee, I do. You know, there's no way I could go waking up without my mojo morning, without my cup. You're like a horseshoe without the love. Be like a quack without the duck, quack. A wallet without a buck, I'd be stuck. What I say? I said like it. Boom, boom, boom. Macchiato mochaccino, half calf cappuccino. Ooh, I love my coffee. Ooh, I love my coffee. Americano mocha grande tall calf. Ooh, I love my coffee. Love it a latte, love it a lot. Well, ooh, I love my coffee, I do. Love it a latte, love it a lot. Well, yeah, I love my coffee, I do. You know, I'd rather eat my donut without a hole. I'd eat the butter without a roll. I'd walk on shoes without a sole. I'd forget to take my love for a moonlight stroll. What I say, I go like, I said espresso yourself. my black, black car. All of a sudden everything's looking up. Don't you come by and talk to me about the healthy benefits of tea. Oh, not to me. Boom, boom. Macchiato, mochaccino, half calf, cappuccino. Ooh, I love my coffee. Ooh, I love my coffee. Americano, mocha grande, tall decaf. Ooh, I love my coffee. Love it a latte, love it a lot. Well, ooh, I love my coffee, I do. Love it a latte, love it a lot. Well, I love my coffee, I do.
Wow. So, Mark, tell me, have you ever thought about pitching that song over to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah.
And did you, or you just thought about it?
Well, I played it for a few people. There's a lot that goes into an ad campaign, you know. It's not just whether or not they like the song. It's got to fit into the whole deal. And
Right.
so, yeah, I know it is practically, I got all the lyrics from their menu. That's all I do is read the menu.
And start singing. What inspired you to write that song?
I usually have a double espresso in the morning, but one morning I had two doubles. And,
Yikes, you were hyper.
and there was that.
And the finger plucking started going, and that was that.
Yeah.
So, Mark, I understand the show is about the history of the 50s and 60s, which, if my memory serves me, the 60s was a pretty political time of year, or a climate was very political. I imagine you're going to be doing some songs that are political oriented.
Well, yeah, that's kind of easy for me to do because it's part of my upbringing, you know, to sing songs about what's going on.
So what about some of the politics of the 60s? Anything on Vietnam or...
Yeah, we talk about Vietnam. We talk about the sorrow of Vietnam, and we also talk about how all the composers in the 50s, you see, in the 50s, they were quite separate from what was going on because while people maybe were worried about nuclear war or stuff, the top of the pops was Hot Diggity Dog, you know? So it's like they weren't really related. And, you know, like Dion in the 50s was singing, Why Must I Be a Teenager in Love, right? In the 60s, he's singing about Abraham, Martin, and John, you know, because of, obviously because people have been shot, you know. We lost John Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, you know, and so it was a different time, and the musicians embraced the changes of what was going on. That was a lot, you know, from in the 60s also, you really tried to express your deepest emotion. The 50s, not so much.
Yeah, the 50s were a little more, like you said, the Hot Diggity
It
Dog.
was really around the folk music craze in the early 60s where music and culture really joined. And Pete Seeger was responsible for that. You know, like when you had these big rallies and simple songs like, you know, we shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. You know, everybody knows that song to this day.
Yep.
It was like an old song that Pete adapted, and you know, the younger folk singers came along, stuff like how many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she can't sleep in the sand? Yes, you know, like that. It was a whole different thing than Hot Diggity Dog or That's Amore or...
Trying to think about how we could tie that into like John Lennon's Imagine, you know.
Well, John, that was a continuation. He was trying to express, his view of the world, is a utopian view of the world. And, it's so precious. Or even songs like, I'm just a poor boy, and my story is seldom told, and I squander my existence, pocket full of mumbo promises. All lies and jest, but a man hear what I want to hear, disregard the rest. Hey, 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 hey.
That Simon and Garfunkel
Yeah,
album was great. That's a Bridge Over Troubled Water album.
That's on that album.
Yeah. So just want to wind it up a little bit. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. I could talk to you for hours because I think I could learn a lot by talking to you.
Well, maybe, but
maybe
I don't know what you would learn, but thank you.
A little more about
nice
the 50s and 60s, which I guess if I come on Saturday night, November 3rd, to the Schoolhouse Theater at 8 o'clock, you're going to be doing the history of the 50s and 60s through popular song. Tickets are $25, and folks can get them, and they really should, because according to my sources, tickets are going fast, and we're going to be out of them soon. It's a 9,900 seat theater, so go to schoolhousetheater.org and get your tickets. And that's theater, Theater, not RE. And you want to get over there and buy your tickets online, $25 tickets to see Marc Black, bringing you some of this music you heard tonight. If you like what you heard, get those tickets right away. Mark, is there time? I think we have time for one more song. If you
I'd
have
like to
one
sing
in
you
you.
this song that, I'm a songwriter by trade, and so in my family it's expected I'll write a song for every occasion. That includes like graduating, from second grade, or getting out of jail.
Well, hopefully you never have to write one of those.
Whatever, but this one was for my son's wedding. It's called This World of Mine. This world of mine, sacred blue pearl, go rolling through to heaven, this shy young girl. This world of mine, mother to us all, sings her sweet song, that ancient love call. You can hear her in the meadow, the evening and the morn. Lark and dove together, each day this beauty is reborn. This world of mine, mighty water and the wind, mountain and prairie, creatures of the hoof and fin. Just hold on to what is good, what we know to be true, even if the tree stands alone. You know what you must do. Hold on to my hand, though I'm far away. I am not gone. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, this world of mine lately has been crying. I hear the seas moan, winds whisper, is she dying? But our world is born of love, so what we dream can come to be. Just turn and turn again, we can set our love free. Just hold on to what is good, what we know to be true, even if the tree stands alone. You know what you must do. Hold on to my hand, though I'm far away. I am not gone, so hold on. Hold on. Yeah, this world of mine, a flock of geese shoot the autumn sky. I rush to the window and I call out, hey, this is not goodbye. And I sing, yo-do, do-do-da-do-do. Da-da-da, oh-do-dee-um, la-dee-da-do-do.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Mark. That was beautiful.
Thanks.
I do want to direct people over to Marc Black, M-A-R-C, black.com, your website, if they want to hear more music or follow you and
Thank
see
you.
where you're going. And I do want to wish you well on Saturday night at the Schoolhouse Theater.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Up next, we've got TJ Leonard from Conn Artists. Stay tuned. You're listening to Jackie's Giant Music Show. I'm Jackie, and that you just heard was Deep Into the Wild by an artist known as Volunteer. They are one of the artists that are part of the Conn Artists concert series, which is put together by founder TJ Leonard. And I've got TJ here in the studio with me. Let's say hello. How are you doing there, TJ?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So tell me a little bit about why you're here tonight.
Sure. We've got a couple of shows coming up this November that we are putting together as part of a Tuesday night concert series at Woodbury Brewing Company in Woodbury, Connecticut, as well as a couple of different local house shows. Basically, what we do is we put together concerts that are designed to be in intimate and unique spaces and allow artists to connect to fans in different and unique ways.
How do you find the musicians that perform in your series?
Sure. These are all artists that my wife and I listen to and care about, and they are people that we have either met by listening to their music or connected through other artists.
And how is it that you came about even starting doing a project like this?
Just really because we wanted to be able to be part of the music. We wanted to be able to help artists who were currently on tour, and beyond just buying a CD or going to a show, we wanted to be able to kind of bring a different musical experience both into our own lives, to our children's lives, and the people around us.
Are you able to play an instrument or sing?
Absolutely not.
So, like me, I cannot do either. I like to be involved in put together shows or interview on the radio as we're doing today. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming up and what you're working on. So I understand this song we just listened to by Volunteer, which is the Deep Into the Wild, was on the radio or the television lately, a TV commercial.
I believe it was placed in a T-Mobile commercial.
T-Mobile commercial.
So
and
you may recognize it from that.
that's kind of where it sounded familiar to me. Besides Volunteer, what are some of the other bands or musicians that you're working with?
Sure. So the show we have coming up next week, November 6th, that's the first in our series at Woodbury Brewing Company. And that is Matt Hires, who is a touring singer-songwriter. He's currently on tour, or going to be on tour in the Northeast with David Cook. So he's playing places like the Ridgefield Playhouse, Infinity Music Hall, Sony PlayStation Theater in the city. And we were lucky enough to get him on one of his nights off to play a headlining show for us. And as part of that, we also have a local New York City-based band, Mosa, who will be opening the show.
So, TJ, you mentioned a couple of locations where Matt is playing, including down in New York City. But tell me a little bit about your feelings on going to the city versus seeing something up in the Connecticut area.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about what we do is we are really bringing artists into spaces that, are a little bit more intimate, a little bit more unique. So by coming out to see an artist like Matt at the Woodbury Brewing Company, you're going to be able to, I think, have a more direct hand in supporting the work that he's doing, but also you might be able to sit at the bar and have a beer with him too. So it's a very different vibe than it would be seeing somebody at a place like the PlayStation Theater or even the Richfield Playhouse for that matter.
So, TJ, tell me a little bit about what a person can expect when they go over to the Woodbury Brewing Company on Tuesday night.
I think what they can expect is certainly a really great night out, supporting a local business and also seeing some wonderful music. Doors open at 6 o'clock with music starting at 7. Woodbury Brewing Company has not only their own beers on tap, but a wide selection of craft beers. We start the evening with Mosa, who's going to be playing as an acoustic duo. And then we have Matt Hires, who will headline for the night. And he'll be playing a selection of songs off of from his entire catalog.
So do you sell advance tickets for this, or how does someone get a ticket?
We do sell advance tickets. So if you go to Conn Artists Events on Facebook, you can find us there, or connartist.net has our direct link to tickets on it as well. So people definitely can purchase advance tickets. The nice thing about that, if you purchase advanced, you get a reserved seat and definitely guarantee a spot at the show. As well, if you want to come to the door, we certainly welcome that too. Just can't always guarantee that you get the best seat in the house.
How much are tickets for this show?
Sure. Tickets for Matt are $10 if you buy them in advance and $15 at the door.
And it's CONN Artists
Yes,
Concerts?
Connartist.net.
Connartist.net. So what do you say we listen to a little bit of Matt's music? I think Fighting the Ghost was discussed. Maybe we'll listen to
Fighting
a
a Ghost is the song off of his newest CD, American Wilderness, and it's his third full-length one. He also has a earlier live EP, and the song is called Fighting a Ghost.
What do you say when your heart's not in it? What do you do when there's no new beginning? How do you start when you've forgotten how to finish? Or how to be free again? Or what the word even meant? Give me something to keep me running, don't let that fire burn out. Whoa, 7 years down and I'm still fighting, still swinging at smoke, still fighting the ghost. Why do we chase after these old horizons? And what's gonna change when you finally find them? Wandering lost in an American wilderness of checkout magazines, IMAX movie screens, chain restaurants, and goddamn coffee shops. Give me something to keep me running, don't let that fire burn out. Whoa, 7 years down and I'm still fighting, still swinging at smoke, still fighting the ghost. I could use a new beginning.
That was Matt Hires performing the song Fighting the Ghost. Matt will be performing on Tuesday, November 6th at Woodbury Brewing Company, which is a venue that my guest this evening, TJ Leonard, is working with. How long have you been doing these concerts?
Sure. My wife and I have been doing this for the last 4 years at varying degrees of frequency. And recently, in probably the past year, we've been averaging about a show a month. And we do a mix of venues. So we'll do smaller house shows, or we'll do also recently we've been doing some work with the Woodbury Brewing Company too. So it's not just the house show thing, but it's also other music venues.
The Woodbury Brewing Company, you're calling this a Tuesday night series, is that correct?
Yes. So the brewing company is not usually open on Tuesdays. So when I talked to Alan, one of the owners, we're looking at ways to kind of replicate the house concert experience at the brewery. And we were trying to find the best way to do that. And we decided that by opening up on a night when they were not usually open would really ensure that the focus would be on the music and really provide the audience that was coming to hear the artist play as much of a listening experience as possible.
And I understand you're bringing in food trucks to help out with the dining experience?
It depends on the evening. The brewery does typically, when they're open, serve food served from a local restaurant. So on a given Tuesday, it may be food from that local restaurant, or it could be a food truck as well.
And I think you told me something about they have some special brews on tap, and as well as some of the more common known beers.
So they definitely brew they have the beers that they brew in-house. So they are a fully operational brewery. So they are currently brewing their own beer, and there's probably about 7 or so of those on tap, ranging from IPA to, obviously they have an Oktoberfest on tap now too. And then a really wide selection of craft beer.
What about somebody like me that wants to have a glass of wine? Do they sell wine as well?
Absolutely can. They have a full bar, so they do have wine as well and different craft cocktails.
Oh, so I can have a martini.
Absolutely.
So we talked about Matt Hires coming in November 6th. That's Tuesday night. What is the next show that you have going on there?
Next show that we have going on there is on November 20th. So that is Thanksgiving week, but it's a great time when family is gathering and the perfect night to go hear some music. And so on that Tuesday, the 20th, we have Will Evans. Will is one of the lead singer and songwriter of the band Barefoot Truth, who also has several of his own solo CDs out. His newest CD, called Rise, is actually coming out November 6th. So this November 20th show is really going to be kind of not only a celebration of that, but also, tracking back into his past catalog too. But Will, as I said, does perform with Barefoot Truth. He also, when he's performing solo, does a lot of live looping. So that evening he will be solo and doing that.
And then another show following that is the December 4th show?
Yes. So December 4th is going to be Matthew Fowler. He's an artist out of Florida. He was actually about a year or two ago handpicked by Sean Rowe to open up for him on a whole bunch of dates. And he is a really wonderful upcoming singer-songwriter. He'll be performing as a trio with the Prado sisters, who are 2 female singer-songwriters who will be with him. And then we also have that same night, Zan and the Winterfolk. They are a bit more local. They're out of Troy, New York, and they're performing as a 4-piece that evening.
Interesting. So what are some of the other bands that you're working with, or who are some of the other bands you're working with?
Sure. We've been really lucky to have, and again, we do this, my wife and I do this because it's really all artists that we love and care about. So in the past year and a half, we've been really lucky to have Lou Barlow, who is the bassist for Dinosaur Jr. and also one of the principal singer-songwriters of Sebadoh, play at our house. We had Rogue Wave. They're a band out of California. Typically do not do the smaller house show thing, but we had them when they were on tour promoting their one of the recent a 10-year anniversary of one of their albums, so they were at our house for that. This summer we had Pete Francis of Dispatch. So really people that are definitely a mix of well-known singer-songwriters as well as those who are maybe not so well-known, but definitely should be.
I think I got to start hanging out with you a little bit. You know some pretty cool people.
And they're all incredibly talented and also good human beings.
So let's just finish up. You mentioned Will Evans is performing on the 20th of November at the Woodbury Brewing Company. What do you say we listen to that cut, To Be Human?
Absolutely.
Is that off of which?
That's off of his album Signal Flares. His new album comes out November 6th.
Woke up this morning 20 minutes too late. This day is gonna be long. I got to my car, another ticket to pay. All my money's gone. Oh, oh, oh. Sometimes you lose more than you win. Oh, oh, live and learn and start again. Oh, yeah. To be human, human doesn't always fall into place. To be human, human, open up the door and start again. To be human, human, what can I do differently today? Yeah. To be human, human, heading out the door to make a change. I keep my family in the back of my mind. I hope I see them soon. But I got a gift I'm gonna share, and by the end of the night I will deliver it to you. Oh, oh. Hey. Should I let my heart be exposed? Oh, oh, you don't try, you never know. Oh, yeah. To be human, human doesn't always fall into place. To be human, 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 open up the door and start again. To be human, 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 what can I do differently today? To be human, 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 heading out the door to make a change. To be human, learn to take the fall. To be human, it's to me beautifully flawed. To be human, it's written in our soul. To be human, each day a new unknown. To be human, we try to make this right. To be human, to be the guiding light. To be human, the trust is what you earn. To be human, every day we better closer you are. Yeah, yeah. Let yourself be drawn by the speed of your heart. Oh, the faster it beats, well, the closer you are. Oh, oh.
That was Will Evans performing To Be Human, and he is at the Woodbury Brewing Company performing for Conn artists, and he's doing an event there on the 20th of November. And it looks like we are running out of time, TJ. I want to make sure I thank you for coming in. Please give a big hello to your wife, Tanya. I know we've talked about her, but I never got a chance to meet her. Hopefully I will.
She's lovely.
She's what?
She's a lovely person.
She said, well, I should hope so. If you married her and she married you, you must both be super fine people. So let's just review a little bit about where folks can find you on social media. So what is your most popular website?
Sure. The best place to find us is on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And that's if you just search for Conn Artists Concerts, or if you put in @Conn Artists Events, you will find us pretty easily. And also we are on the internet as well at conartist.net.
So I guess what I wanted to ask you was the interwebs. Is that what they call the whole internet thing and all the different social media sites?
I believe so.
And so is Facebook your main?
Facebook is the main way that we communicate. That seems to be the most effective for us. I mean, we do have the website. We are on Instagram as well. But that's been the main mode of connection and promotion for us at this point.
Twitter?
No Twitter.
See, now I can tweet, but I tried Instagram again today, and I have to tell you, every single time I use it, I have to Google how do I post on Instagram. But anyway, nobody needs to know about my inability to work on social media. So, conartist.net.
Yes.
Conn Artist Events on Facebook. And so just once more time, tell us the shows that you have coming up on the Tuesday night music series at the Woodbury Brewing Company.
Yes. So next Tuesday, November 6th, we have Matt Hires with Mosa. November 20th, we have Will Evans with Daryl Ron. And on December 4th, we have Matthew Fowler performing as a trio with Zan and the Winterfolk.
Great. Well, so thank you so much for coming in. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thanks again for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining me tonight on Jackie's Giant Music Show. A special thanks again to this week's guests, Marc Black and TJ Leonard. Please remember to share and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Jackie Roche, Roche. And actually, let me spell Jackie for you, Jacque, Jacque Roche. And follow me on Facebook at Jackie's Giant Music Show. Thanks again for listening. I got another great show I'm working on for next week. I know you're going to love it, so don't forget to tune in.
You risk it all, you learn to feel